So, these last few weeks, a buddy of mine has been saying that extruded powders are way better than ball powders, that you should only shoot extruded powders, and that ball powders are just cheap junk that, well, it goes bang, but that's about it. So, today we're going to dive into that a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a comparison. We've got N150 here, which is one of the favorites from Vitavori, and we have Hodgdon Superformance. It's a good ball powder that I have a little bit of experience with. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to take a look and we're going to see if there is actually a huge difference between these two cartridges. So the biggest difference as to why this comparison will work is because this N150 is an extruded powder. It's a stick powder there, so it takes up a little bit more surface area. But then here we have this Superformance powder, which is a ball powder. It is going to take a lot more of these little granules to fill up the case than it will this N150. So first big major difference, the reason we're comparing them, one is a ball powder, one is an extruded powder. For this test, we're going to be using some Lapua brass. They're one of the highest quality brasses that you can get, so it helps with accuracy a ton. And we have the N150 here, we have the Superformance, and we're going to be using the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, do I think this is the ideal cartridge to test every powder in? No. Obviously, it has its limitations, and it's not the end all be all case. It works in the Creedmoor, it works in everything. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we're going to use it to test this because I know that this 143 grain ELDX shoots well out of the rifle. So it can give both of these powders a fair opportunity to not only get good accuracy, but also to be able to have it on a straight playing field where it's a 6.5 Creedmoor, same bullet, same primers, exact same brass. It's going to be new brass. So everything should be even outside of powders, the charges, and all of that good stuff. So let's get into it. Let's look at this powder. So this 143 grain ELDX is a load that we have shot a ton of. And it's usually right around half MOA to 3/4 of an inch. It can get down to about 0.3 inches, 0.4 inches on a 3-shot group. Now, getting into the 5-shot, 6-shot groups, it's going to grow. I mean, after 3 shots, we're going to start getting some out here. And eventually, you're probably going to end up around an inch, inch and a half. But on 3-shot groups, it's usually really good, about a half inch, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. So I think this will be a good comparison. N150 has been talked about as a super good powder that is good at getting bug hole groups. Well, I think we've got a good comparison here just because if that powder is what they claim it is, then I think once we get out to the range, we should see something similar to this, if not a touch better. Okay, so let's go down the list here. We have the N150, which is the extruded powder, and Superformance, which is the ball powder. Now, for temp stability, Superformance is not going to be the best ball powder for this case. You could use something like the Stayball 6.5 or one of those Stayball series powders. They are designed to be more temp stable than the Superformance. And then we get into case fill. The fuller your case is, usually leads to better accuracy. Here, you're going to need less than 40 grains of N150 to do it. Here, it's going to be more than 40 grains of Superformance. So the big tell here is you can use less N150 powder. Now, is it going to be better? We'll get to the range and we'll take a look at that. But then cost. This is one of the biggest things for me. If you're reloading on a budget or don't have a ton of funds, ball powders are always going to be a little bit cheaper, if not quite a bit cheaper, than your extruded powders. You're looking $70 a pound versus $50 a pound. Now, for some guys, this is going to be the most important thing. Other guys, your case fill or your temp stability is. If you're hunting in the mountains of Colorado in the wintertime, N150's velocities are going to be more consistent than a Superformance is if you do your loads or make up your loads in the summer. So it just depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for more temp stability, N150 is your powder. Equal case fill with less powder, again, N150. But if you want cost effectiveness, ball powders, especially that Superformance, it's going to be your friend. ELDX shot one with the Vitavori N150.
I haven't seen. I'm waiting till it's done so I can rent Netflix or buy Netflix for one
Very
day
slow.
and then watch the entire.
Shot 2 143 ELDX with Vitavori.
And that's all you need to know. Shane, did you get rid of the gun?
Still slow.
Walks away. Throws it in the tool.
Shot 3.
Tool thing? Yeah, and he also filed off the gun.
Okay, so we're back from the range, and well, that 143 grain ELDX really performed about how we expected it to. It was just over a half inch. The ES of 32 with an average velocity of 2,853 feet per second. So realistically, it performed about like we expected. It was right about half inch, just over. So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, we are back from the range, and well, I think Superformance lost in this category huge. 0.256 inches versus 0.656 inches. This is almost a third of the size. So N150 for accuracy, it's a huge winner there. I mean, both are still sub 3/4 inch, but 0.256, that's awesome. And the thing about this group is I didn't believe it at first. I thought I was missing the target. So this is a 5-shot group because shots 1, 2, and 3 stacked on top of each other. And then going to shots 4 and 5, the group grew, but realistically, it didn't grow that much. After this, I need to get the downrange camera because this would have been an amazing group to have on camera. But let's look at the other numbers. ES of 47, that's 15 more than the Superformance. And then the average velocity of 2,662 is quite a bit slower. It is significantly slower than that 2,853 feet per second. That's almost 200 feet a second difference. So we'll go back to our chart, put that in the comparison, and then we'll give the verdict. Coming back to the chart, we'll start with velocity as we added 3 new categories: group size, ES, and velocity. We're going to start with velocity here, and we can see it's almost 200 feet a second difference. So in this category, ball powders win. In the ES category, we have 32 and 47. Now, had we shot 5 shots, I'm sure those numbers would be a lot closer than they are. So we can chalk that up to it's a 3-shot and a 5-shot group. Both are decent ESs. I mean, realistically, I've seen factory ammunition up around 150, 200 feet per second on the ES, and that's not good. So relatively speaking, 32 and 47, those are pretty good. And then coming up to group size. This is where ball powders tend to struggle because on a 3-shot group, most of the time, ball powders are going to be right around MOA, if not bigger. I think I just got a little bit lucky with this load and Superformance really liking this rifle. And then we come over here. I shot 5 shots because I didn't believe the first 3. I thought I had missed the target. But then after 5 shots, the group grew to 0.256 inches. That's the best 5-shot group I think I've ever gotten, ever. In the 15 plus years reloading, shooting, that's by far the best. But 3 shots at 0.656 inches, and that's a repeatable load. I'd say both of these realistically shoot very well. But let's get down to it. Which is better? Ball powders like Superformance or extruded powders like N150? And I would say it comes down to what do you want out of your powder? Are you wanting bug hole groups that are 5 shots, 10 shots, that you can just stack them in there? Or are you wanting something more just recreational, something cheap? Ball powders will get the job done. They might take a lot more load development, but eventually you might stumble upon something that works really well. Now, in this case, N150 versus Superformance, velocity is the big decider for me. This Superformance load, I've used it in hunting. It works well. It's got enough velocity that within normal hunting ranges, it's fine. But then getting out to, you know, 300, 400 yards, N150 might start to struggle a little bit just because our muzzle velocity is so much slower. But if you're target shooting, it doesn't really matter. You get your dope chart and it'll all work out. So realistically, would I say one is better than the other? Probably I'd have to lean towards extruded powders like N150. But the caveat with that is sometimes your velocity will be so much slower that in hunting situations, it won't be as good. So just learn your rifle, learn your loads, get out, do that load development, and we'll catch you next time.